Hello, and welcome to Somalabl, the podcast. My name is Wanda Karaoke, and I will be your host. Somalabl is a call to find ways to bring more awareness in our day-to-day in order to bring balanced and wholesome lives. Join us as we hear the personal journey of everyday people who are taking steps to bring more health, wellness, and joy to their lives. And now, here's today's episode. This podcast is not intended to replace professional medical advice. The views expressed are solely those of the host and the guest featured. For any medical or nutritional advice, please contact your personal doctor or a medical professional. Hey, Thagana.
How are you?
Good to see you here. Thanks for coming and giving us a view.
I'm absolutely honored.
Yeah. So why don't you just start by introducing yourself? Who is Thagana? What are you about? Who are you?
Wow. That's always an interesting question. Well, my name is Thagana Gatheru.
Yeah.
What exactly do you want to know? My age?
Honestly, what comes to mind at this moment of how you define who you are, or what explains who you are?
Okay, first, I'm very passionate about Christ. I'm a husband. I'm not yet a father, but God willing.
Amen.
Son, brother, fitness enthusiast, passionate about real estate, extremely passionate about fitness because it was essentially the start of my journey into manhood, so to say, in the sense that I got into fitness just as I was halfway in through uni.
Okay.
And that's when I was really understanding who I am.
Okay.
Not completely understanding my identity, but it was this beginning of that journey.
Okay.
And fitness has now always been instrumental to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we explore that story, I'm curious, what did you define as manhood that now you identify that fitness began that journey? So what did manhood mean to you then?
Okay. Standing on my own, being able to essentially call my own shots and direct my own life. So for me, that's where manhood started.
Okay.
And that stemmed off university, what I was studying, my career, and how I wanted my career and life to move.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be that fitness plugged itself in just at that point.
Okay.
So it has been a huge, I don't use the word defining factor because it's part of my life, but it's not my life. It's a strong part of my life, but it's not my life. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what was it like then before? Tell me like a typical day in the life before the journey.
Wow. So typical day, I'd say then in uni before I started fitness.
Yeah.
Wake up, go to the university canteen or restaurant, have breakfast, which essentially was English breakfast. This was in the UK. So your typical English breakfast, your bacon, your eggs, a lot of deep fried foods, and then go to class, finish off with class.
And what kind of portions were these? Are we talking like a little bit of egg, a little?
You serve yourself. So it was. I probably had two, 3 servings. 2, 3 servings. Of everything. And then do class, go back home. I used to be a very big gamer, so I would play on my Xbox before doing homework if there was any homework, and then just go out and hang out with friends and probably eat dinner out because I wasn't big, especially during my first year. I wasn't big on cooking. Yeah, it was my first year on my own, so I didn't cook for myself at all. Yeah. So that was your typical day. Then post that, which I'm anticipating is your next question, was wake up, go to the gym, work out, and then my day started. Yeah. But I now stopped eating from the school canteen and started eating my own food. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but let's explore a little bit of the before, because I'm curious to understand at least a bit more of that picture. So there's this snapshot of you in uni, like pre-class, whatever, you doing breakfast, that sort of thing. What else did your life look like? Were you, other than the gaming, were you social?
Yeah, social. I mean, there is a huge pub culture in the UK. Okay. So literally every single afternoon or evening between 4 and 6, you go to a pub, you have a couple of beers. I couldn't stand beer then. Okay. So it was vodka Red Bulls then. Yeah. But then again,
you would mix vodka and Red Bull? Or?
Yes. Okay. Yes. So that was the cocktail that was marketed towards the
college students or whatever.
Exactly, because it was affordable, and vodka and Red Bull gets you where you want to be get very quickly. So but then I was always conscious about spending too much money on drinks and entertainment, because I just enjoyed being at home playing on my Xbox or watching TV. Growing up, that wasn't that. We weren't allowed to do that over the week, so to say. So now that I'm free, I can control my life. The first thing I want to do is play as much Xbox as I want and watch as much TV as I want.
So that's interesting that, so you said you define manhood as sort of being on your own and controlling your time. But it sounds like you had your own experience of manhood, which is having free time to do video games or whatever. So why wasn't that satisfying enough as a signal to say, my manhood began with this decision? Why now are you defining the fitness and all of that as like real manhood? Because being able to watch,
to do whatever
you want, right? That's the same definition. So why was that different?
That's a good question. That's a tough question. I'm not actually sure how to answer that. But
why wasn't that enough for you to feel like it's defining of me beginning, like taking control of my life? So what is it about that still felt reckless, even though it was still free?
I wouldn't say. Well, at that point in time, and I guess also from my upbringing, watching TV and playing Xbox is not a career option. It's not something that you can live on. But also, I wouldn't say that I completely walked away from that aspect of my life. I still gamed up until COVID. In fact, COVID time was huge gaming time because we were all stuck at home. I was newly married and it was just a lot of time around each other. She was working. My business couldn't run during the COVID season, so
gaming.
A lot of gaming time. Now I can answer that. I can answer on gaming now, not back then. Because now it had no value outside of it being cathartic, it being allowing me to calm down and rest. Whereas back then it was for as long as I want, however much I want. So it didn't add any value to my life and my priorities. My priorities now are way different from back then.
Okay, so now let's talk about the journey into manhood. That started, and maybe start also by describing a little bit like, how your body felt like that, how you looked, what you felt before now you had that moment of transition into waking up to going to the gym first.
My body before I started changing.
And let's not talk about I was going to say how when you show everybody that picture.
The photo, everyone gives me a nice, okay. And whereas you just broke into laughter. Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be possible, but we need to ask CK if we can put up.
I'll share the photos. Okay, so I'll walk you through, I think the earliest photo of me being what would be termed as a regular sized person would be maybe 3 years old.
Okay.
My parents had a house help or house manager called Nancy, who I don't know if it was avocado season for the first 10 years of my life, but that is all she fed me. And I loved avocados. So from then on, I just got overweight.
Yeah. So the last time you were normal weight was 3.
Maybe 3, yeah.
Yikes.
So overweight, and it's quite funny because your parents are the ones who tell you, you need to be more active, yet they're the ones who are feeding you.
Yeah.
So through high school, through my lower and upper 6, I was essentially always an overweight.
Which is, from a different system. So it'd be like primary in Kenya?
No, not primary.
Like high school?
Yes, high school
like
and then
Kenyan
O-levels
high school.
And then your A-levels.
Okay.
So I was always a big boy. And obviously that has adverse effects on when you're getting into puberty. Now you want, you're attracted to ladies, obviously, or girls, obviously expecting their attraction to be back, but it's not necessarily there. You're seeing a lot of your Slimmer friends getting their attention. When you actually do get attention, you realize it's definitely because it can only be your personality, because they're not attracted to anything else, and it does affect you.
Yeah.
And it leaves a sort of a lasting effect, because once I changed, or once my body changed, rather, because my personality didn't change. Now start getting this attention, which is completely new to you, and you're not used to it. You're not sure how to address it. You could go the giddy route and just respond to every single person who's attracted to you, because you're now desired, and that's something you struggled with, or I struggled with before.
Yeah. Okay. So what was so hard about not being seen at that stage in your life?
It was hard. Exactly what you just said. Just not being seen. The feeling of not being seen in some light. Actually, I want to edit a bit about my personality. Your personality changes based on your circumstances, or mine did based on my circumstances. So because I was not necessarily the best looking kid in school, I had now to compensate for that with
being good at something else.
Yes. So I was extremely comedic. Yes. And I think that has tied a lot to my personality right now, because I just love making people laugh. I enjoy laughing, and I love making people laugh. And so I was always like the life of a class, but from the comedic standpoint, or entertainment standpoint. Yeah. Yeah. And that I feel was part of me trying to be seen. And since I can't be seen in this light, let me be seen in that light. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So build up of that to the moment. I mean, we've had this conversation, so I know the magazine story.
Yeah. So uni, first year of uni, all going well. Xbox. I didn't tell you also, a lot of the times at night before bed, I'd eat a full duck pizza.
Wow.
Yeah. There's a duck.
And how many people would that serve normally?
So if you're looking at probably three.
So you would eat what 3 people could eat in a night.
But the duck pizza was amazing.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Okay.
So I used to eat that almost every other night.
Wow.
Every other night. I used to eat very unhealthily.
Yeah.
And because you just sort of reside to, this is me, there's nothing I can do to change this.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents are doctors, so a lot of the time they would sit me down, tell me, you're not going to live past, let's say, 25 if you continue this way. So
this was why in uni this conversation started, or since you were a kid?
This was now when I was before uni, so high school.
Oh, wow.
You would live to 25, you continue eating like this. So I'll let you come see a nutritionist, or I'll take you to go see a nutritionist rather. And you meet a nutritionist and they talk about the different macronutrients, blah, blah, things that you don't know or don't care about.
Yeah.
And then, but there's something that tugs in you and you're like, okay, I'll try to be more active. So I started working out, and within 2 weeks, of course, first of all, 2 weeks of any workout program, once you get past the 2 weeks is when now it's part of your routine. But I couldn't get past those 2 weeks because it wasn't my decision. It was someone else making me or pushing me to start losing weight. So it wasn't sustainable. Whereas now in the UK, I remember after first year, or maybe end of first year, I was with a friend of mine and we're at line up at a department store. Just where you're about to pay, they've got magazines along the sides. It was it was one of the, I don't remember which magazine it was, but it was about movies, so maybe movie entertainment, and it had Ryan Reynolds from, it was Blade 3 at that time. He was kneeling down with his hands behind his back. He was topless. Man had a great body. Great body. And I remember my female friend at the time just saying, look at him. And I was like, I already seen him. Man's looking good. Do you want to get fit for the summer?
Yeah.
And I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Literally, that is what changed. It was just a mindset shift. As I paid and walked back to my room or my dorm or my apartment, whatever it was at the time, I just knew I'm going to start working out from the next day. And that's what I did. Enrolled in the gym, started working out. And the rest.
What were you following? How did you know what to do?
Nothing. So I didn't know anything. So to me, I guess what the world teaches you at that point, you need to be active. So I'll just run on a treadmill for an hour and then cycle for half an hour every single day.
So somewhere you had heard cardio work.
Yes. And then you've got, because traditionally back then, whenever a gym was open, first thing you'd see was 30 treadmills.
That's
Gyms
true.
were treadmills.
That's true. That's true.
And then like 2 machines. So weightlifting machines. It was just all treadmills. And from a nutrition perspective, I didn't know anything. So I just knew I need to eat little, and not non-fatty foods. And so morning would be...
And where do you think that messaging came from? Is it just stuff you would come across, YouTube, whatever?
Just this is YouTube wasn't that popular then.
Yeah.
I'm guessing magazines. No, men's health is actually what shaped a lot of my...
Okay.
But that was after my first year of working out.
Okay.
I guess just society,
subliminal messages, whatever.
Parents. Yeah, because I was not essentially plugged into the fitness world, so I didn't have that much information.
Okay.
I just know if it's fried, it's bad. If it's skin like chickens, it's bad. That sort of thing. Sausages are bad, maybe from my nutritionist, because I remember holding a test tube with how much fat there was in a sausage.
Yeah.
So morning was bran flakes, literally enough to fit just the palm of my hand, and then with low fat or no fat milk.
Wow.
Then I'd eat the bran flakes and whatever remaining milk, I'd pour it out. Then lunchtime would be a salad with a Mula Light. Mula Light is a yogurt rather. And then dinner would be a piece of chicken. So literally, because you understand macros, I was eating 500 at most calories.
And you're a young male who's active, who's
doing 1.5 hours of cardio.
Wow.
So, and that comes now to the story I kept telling you where I'd start blacking out on the treadmill, and then the gym would kick me out, cancel my membership because they're like, we don't want you to die here.
Yeah.
And I would reform and come back a week later, and then probably in a month's time, I end up blacking out again. But
so this went on for how long?
Maybe the whole... Let's say 2 months. Let's say 2 months because I was actively... Now, at that point, I was consuming fitness-related content. And so not to YouTube time.
Yeah.
We're talking about men's health.
Yeah.
So buying every single issue of Men's Health every month, I think. And just reading through different...
articles.
Different articles, following, a lot of the time they would follow specific people in the fitness industry or actors who've gotten themselves in shape for specific roles. So following their nutritional plans, following their workout plans. And then, fortunately enough, I met a very good friend of mine from high school who had also gone to the same university I had. And he was also working out, and he seemed to have had a different introduction into it. He was now more on the bodybuilding side of things. So I sort of latched onto that. But stemming off that, I still, for the first, let's say 10 years, I didn't have a good relationship with nutrition in the sense that I couldn't trust, or I didn't trust, or I chose not to trust what nutritional calculations fit my lifestyle. I'd always try and eat a bit less. Because one thing I knew is I didn't want to go back to being big again.
That's the question I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
So what was the fear? So what did you see changing? Like those 2 months or whatever, did your body change? Is there something you started to like that you're like, I need to hold on to this? Or
let's start with things I hated.
Okay.
Lack of attention, not being seen, sweating profusely all the time.
Summers must have been awful.
Yes, horrible.
Yeah.
Always been hot. So during winter, it's snowing and my window is open. Cool me down.
Yeah. Because winter temperatures get to about
in the minus because it would snow. So, but Canterbury, so I was in Kent, so maybe -2 at the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're opening your window.
And my window is fully open. When you eat fatty food, your sweat also smells fatty. So it just smells. I don't know if you've ever sensed that when you have a sort of a binge day, the next day in the gym, your sweat doesn't smell the same as
me. It depends what supplement of food I'm eating, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly supplements for me. Yeah.
So that, and then now what I loved was, wow, you're losing a lot of weight. You're looking good. I've always been sporty. Even through my obese years, I was always in the school basketball, football, hockey teams, and I'd do my best, but I was limited by the size of my body. Now, all of a sudden, you're running that much faster.
What did it mean for you being able to run faster?
Your ability, as in you're seeing or experiencing your body achieve something you've never achieved before. And I'm yet again big on sports. You want to play sports, obviously, and you're becoming better at sports. So it's euphoric, And now people are also recognizing because the skill is there. It's just yet again you're limited by your body. So you're coming into yourself or into what I would have thought then was the true potential of myself or my body. And as long as you're disciplined, every week is a new milestone because you're that faster, you're that capable. Yeah.
So switching the stuff that you hated and now you were able to do all these things better. So the calorie restriction was holding on to that newfound thing. And how is that working for you? Because it now sounds like you've accomplished something great, but were you really enjoying it because there's this constant fear that you might lose it?
Yes. There's that constant fear of, I don't want to slip back. And remember, you're the only person within your circle that has changed their lifestyle from an eating standpoint. But it doesn't mean every single morning you're still going with your friends to the canteen, or you're still going out for dinner, or you're still going to, they go order the pizzas, and you're there with one drumstick that is dry and grilled. All the juices are out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
Getting comfortable with that environment. Because what I'd seen it as breaking off an addiction, but then still immersing yourself in a space where you desire to eat a certain way. You haven't forgotten the taste of fried chicken. Obviously, you want to eat fried chicken, but at that point, what your body is achieving is more important than what you want to eat. Yes, there would be seasons or periods of slip-ups, as I'd like to call it, and you just beat yourself up for the next day you don't eat.
The extremes.
I had such a poor relationship with food then.
Yeah.
Such a poor relationship with food.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nice just the journey, and since then just trying to reintroduce yourself back into what is sustainable, what is enjoyable. And a lot of the times when I sit and advise or consult with people who are entering the fitness journey. It has to be sustainable. It has to be something you're able to do. Also, calorific deficits are just play with your moods all the time.
So
you're constantly
talk a little
hungry,
bit about that caloric deficit. What exactly is that?
You're eating less than your body burns. Okay. But for me now was super calorific deficit. So I'm eating way less. And back then I used to know the science about it, but I guess you're releasing cortisol, which is the stress hormone.
Yeah.
So your body is now going into defense mode. You end up burning muscle instead of fat. But I didn't know this.
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, so if I eat 200 calories less than what I burn, I will lose weight. That means if I eat 1,200 calories less, I will achieve my goal faster. And we all know that's not the case.
Yes.
But I didn't know that then. So I'm just constantly trying to be on a bigger deficit every single day. It has adverse effects instant effects on your happiness.
So were you miserable? I mean, it sounds like you had achieved the physical aspect and the attention and all this.
It was a seesaw sort of thing. So you're miserable because you can't eat, but then you're happy because I'm faster, I'm better at this, or excuse me, or all of a sudden I can fit. I can't fit into any of my clothes. I need to buy new clothes again. So there's that whole excitement. But definitely, I couldn't sustain that for long. And so I got into bodybuilding through a friend of mine, and we trained with each other for my entire uni life. So that's probably 4 years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. My most enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Okay. Post-marriage is my most enjoyable. Most enjoyable time.
Yeah.
Because now I started eating more. I started trusting the process a bit more.
And this was solely through learning from him, or what did you start to absorb that started to give you more information?
Just everything. Men's health.
Yeah.
Seeing your physique change. Learning. So a lot of trial and error. So there's no diet that I have not done. Everything. From the Atkins to
Did you ever do the Chinese tea? Because I was talking about, I've done a lot of...
What's the Chinese tea diet?
Where you do this green tea that you just get No? Okay, maybe men didn't do that. But
do you remember GNLD? They used to give those shakes.
We had some, what were they called in the States?
Let me tell you something. I don't know if you can decide whether to edit it out. I used to take a medicine called Xenicol.
Okay.
Xenicol is a fat... Is it not assimilation? Anyway, a fat liquid. You just liquidate the fat in your body.
So they say.
Yeah. And it used to
make you
leak out of your body.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So, that's as bad as the green tea.
Yeah. So you're just walking around and you just feel something coming out of your bum. Yeah. And it was a glowy orange, I guess what cooking oil would look like.
Yeah.
And
would this be with a normal bowel movement or just on its own?
On its own.
Hiya.
Its own. And then it's oily.
So it makes you think that you're actually leaking fat from your body.
It's so I've done it all. Eating for my blood type. At one point I would only eat rabbit. I mean, first of all, God bless my parents, my mother specifically, because I used to come. So now when I'm back home on holiday, I'm like, so I don't eat steak. First of all, don't fry. Or if I don't eat fried food.
Wow.
I don't eat rabbit now.
Yeah. So because that's your blood type said.
And this is what I'm thinking. 2010.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's not rabbit was still.
Yeah.
It's not readily.
No,
found.
It's not an easy.
It was found at the Yaya Center butchery, and it was also expensive.
Yeah.
But I think my mom was just so happy that
you're making an effort.
Yeah, that should get it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had tried everything, men's health, this guy. So how then do you get to this place of sustainability, which sounds like it's your motto now, that you're not fearful, that you're trusting the process? How did you get there?
I don't think you ever truly, I can't say I'm 100% really got there, but I'm in a space where I'm extremely comfortable. Priorities change. So before marriage, it's all about beach bodies, big muscle beach body. And also there's the age factor. In your 20s or late 20s, you recover very quickly.
That's true.
Extremely. And you just want to look good all the time. And if genetics are not on your side, and genetics do play a big role.
This is true.
Very, very big role. And I just feel like, I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of the Kikuyu men.
Honestly, I was about to say, and Cukes, I don't think our genetics have not.
We don't put on muscle that, or we do, but you eat and I'll gain the fat.
I was literally about to say that. Yeah, I was about to be like my Kikuyu sisters. I feel you with them. Although to side note, I really feel like I'm blessed with a lunge body, so that's another story.
My brothers from the West, man, you just look at a muscle, you look at a weight and you put on muscle.
That's what Josh said to me.
You look at a weight and you put on muscle, and I'm like, man. Anyway,
yeah.
So you struggled a bit with that, so you feel like you always have to work harder.
Yeah.
Also, there's the aspect of the excess skin, which we can talk. We'll talk about that in a bit. But now, I'm married. I don't. First off, it's only my wife that gets to see my body, so I don't really care.
What does that mean?
No, well, not really care. I do want to be the best that I can be for her, but now more in my priorities have changed. I'm more into being fit and being, because God willing, in the next few years, I'll be chasing after children. And I don't want to be that guy, and I was that guy for, I can't come go on a hike with you because that's cardio. I don't lose myself, Or you don't want to overexert yourself because you don't get unnecessarily tired. Your fitness is only for the gym. If that makes sense. Whereas now I want to be able to do whatever
the kids
want or friends want, or if it's, let's go. And I love fitness. So if you want to cycle, let's go cycle. If you want to hike, let's go hike. If you want to lift weight, let's lift weight. If you want to, whatever it is. Though I don't run, I don't do this. I can chase a football.
Weightlifters don't run either.
I can chase a football or a basketball for 5 hours.
Yeah.
But run in 5 minutes. Nah, fam. Yeah. So I just want to be fit. I want to be able. That's a very vague word, but to me it makes sense. I want to be able to do whatever you want. Yeah.
So we had a similar conversation. Like, I was in your spot with CK and I was talking about how what fitness means for me now. And it sounds like there's a shift. When you say fitness was for the gym and looking good, now it has a purpose of what exactly? What is that able?
So many things. Mental health, like the clarity I get when I'm working out, and the fact that it contributes so much to so much of happiness because you're healthy, essentially. I don't know if it happens to you, but I rarely get
sick.
Rarely.
Yeah.
Rarely.
Yeah.
I mean, a flu or a cold, although post-COVID now these flus and colds all happen all the time, but I rarely get sick.
Yeah.
The only sort of ailments I manage are now gym-related injuries. Shoulders, knees, but those you can get past. But so I'm really still excited to do anything I'm not as lazy. That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you feel like you're now finally able to participate in life?
Interesting question.
Because it sounded like your childhood.
Participate in life on, to be free or be flexible to participate on other people's terms as opposed to my terms. A lot of my life, it only had to be my terms. It's a lot of selfishness.
Wow.
You want to double click on that?
I do want to double click on that.
Obviously, there are things it's just not fitness related. It's just, I guess, growing as a person, just learning that it's not always what you want. It's being a great friend or husband or son or brother is being serving, being selfless. And before, if it didn't, it still happens now. If there was an ask that interfered with my fitness lifestyle.
Oh, wait, so you've gone through things, right? So it was sorry to call it the lazy, overweight, inactive. And even when you got...
And lazy fit.
And lazy fit. Selfish fit.
Selfish, lazy fit.
Selfish, lazy fit. So now everything sort of was around this body.
Yeah. This gym lifestyle.
Interesting. So even a good had become...
let me tell you, an addiction, whatever it is, just overdoing something it's not healthy.
Okay.
Essentially becomes an idol. Because for me, I couldn't be happy. In fact, like now, if you told me not to work out for a month, I'd be able to do it, still struggle. You couldn't have told me that 3 years ago.
Okay.
Tell me no.
Yeah.
I need my fix. I need that dopamine fix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, because a lot of the conversations we've been having, including my story, was we're constantly chasing this physique, and that's why I kind of stayed the course. But it sounds like you got the physique, but then it wasn't...
I know, I didn't get the physique. I've loved what you said, because I used to say it all the time.
Yeah.
We're chasing perfection that we never get. Because, yet again, what is perfection? What me being Ryan Reynolds? No, I actually reached a point where I didn't want to look like him. I wanted to look like someone bigger. Or you're always chasing this, and you start to realize you're rooting your identity in other people's looks as opposed to your own. Love yourself for who and what you are. Yeah. And it's not easy. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
Because right now it's still a goal. Because being in fitness, you know that you're always achieving, if it's a number, if it's a weight, I'm talking about a weight on the scale, or a weight on the number being a weight
bars, how lift you can heavy,
or a certain time, or certain waist size, chest size. Yeah, there's always something which isn't bad, but now it's reached the point, if I don't get it,
you're okay.
I'm okay.
Because you're getting all these other things that are actually giving you more.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And back then, it would be, I need to get it. I need to find whatever I can to reach that goal. Yeah.
So, Somalabl, Read the Label sort of podcast is about what does conscious living look like for you? What are you being mindful about? What are you paying attention to make you able, better? What would you say that is like for you today? How do you do that? How are you mindfully living?
It ties a bit to the selfless aspect, but let me go back to the name of Somalabl.
Yeah.
This is me at every single supermarket. Pick something.
I love it.
And at initially Vista, my wife would be like,
"What's up with this guy?
What are you doing?"
Yeah.
I don't want this anymore. I love the fact that I can quickly glance at nutritional information and tell you whether I can, if I've allowed myself to, because things can fall in my cheat days or cheat seasons. Because my view on nutrition is now completely different.
Yeah.
Or it is not even worth.
Yeah.
There's nothing worth my time.
Yeah.
Here. Yeah. Conscious, mindful living. I'm going to ask you to rephrase that question. That one is...
No, I hear you. It is, I think the words are not you. Because you've answered it.
Yeah.
I'm trying to draw out what do you intentionally make a decision about that makes your life better?
Because I love structure. I love meticulously analyzing or controlling an input because it will mean a certain output, if that makes sense. I've tracked my macros for the longest time, 10 plus years.
Wow.
That I now use that to track my finances. So I track my finances the exact same way. And a lot of people may view it as being inflexible. I find it very liberating. It allows me to be flexible. I love knowing what I can do at a certain time, or what the rules have imposed on myself allow me to do at a certain point in time. I've lived a life without, or part of my life without...
guardrails?
Yes, without control. There's a word I'm looking for. It's not coming. But without control.
Yeah.
I'm not my best self when...
Discipline?
Yeah, when I'm not disciplined. And one thing losing weight taught me was discipline. Being able to force hardship upon yourself in order for a future better life, or outcome. And initially it's hard. Like every time I spend money, be it a shilling, track it, because I've budgeted how much I should be spending in a month. So it's my income, and then what percentage is going to what, and how much I can spend on this. And it's just the same as food. I track with my fitness pal. Currently on 2750 calories. I know X amount is protein, X amount is carbs, X amount is fat. I know how I can. So if you gave me a donut now, 4 years ago, I'd have told you, nah. But if it's also the selfless aspect, I'm more likely to or let's say I come to your place for dinner, you've cooked a fantastic spread, just not what I would eat. But to me, the relationship is more important. So I'll eat. But I can change that on my macros later on. It affects how I'll eat the next day. I'll just play around with things so that I'm still within that framework or room that is comfortable for me. Because I know that's where I thrive. And that's where I'm happiest. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
It does. I'm hearing a lot of things that we have in common, actually.
Seriously?
Yeah, because it's also about we was talking about this, like how being vegan actually gave me the discipline to eat well.
Wow.
Because before that, everything was go, go, go. I was not limited. Now, being vegan gave me a definition of a boundary that I could live within.
Can we switch this? Because I'm curious about, is it veganism? Is it what are vegans?
Yeah. So vegans, depending on which ones.
There are kinds of vegans?
Yes. They're vegans who strictly no animal product, including honey. They consider honey an animal product. I'm the type of vegan who will eat honey because to me, a bee is an insect. I know people will come for me for that, but whatever. I'll take honey. And then there are also raw vegans who are people who will not eat anything that's cooked over 108.
degrees.
Yeah. So they tend to do like sprouted and all that stuff. So there's different kind of vegans.
That's interesting. It reminds me it's the Daniel fast, which is also very similar to that. You're not meant to eat processed.
That's actually the fast that started me on my woke journey. But we'll switch this one day. We'll have a switch session. So what advice would you give or tip? Because it said that you consult, or like when people come to you for help. I get it.
Sometimes.
So when people come to you like, tell me you're looking good. I see you working out. Da, 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 da. What would you say to somebody who's wherever, maybe where Thagana was before he got on, saw that magazine, or where Thagana was when he was selfish fit in terms of getting to this place that you are now? Like, what would you say to them?
Well, so a lot of the times people who want to lose weight as opposed to gain weight. Big thing is do not get emotionally attached to the number on the scale. That is your weight scale.
Why?
I've got it's a poor representation of what you're trying to achieve. So I started at 160 kgs. I lost weight to 75 kgs. I'm now 95 kgs. But me and another 95 kg person can look completely different. So do you want the number or do you want the look? Because first part I was just chasing the number. Hence why huge calorific deficit. I need to see I am 1 or 0.8 kgs less every week. Whereas if I'd continued working out, hadn't looked at the scale, I'm getting smaller. So I'm not even caring about how I look. I'm caring about this number doesn't define you. It doesn't say anything about you. I feel at 90. I've been 95 before. Seasogen with fitness. This is the best 95 I've felt. Yeah, I can sprint. I can squat heavy. I play football. I cycle. Whereas I have been 85 and not looked as good as my 95 now. And
or being able.
Yes, exactly, being able. And when I was 85, you told me I need to put on 10 kgs. What? What do you mean put on weight to? No. So do not get emotionally attached to the number on the scale. You're not going to find happiness in that mirror. Happiness is in you, not in the mirror. Your priorities, desires are going to constantly change. So be comfortable with the fact that this is a lifestyle. It's not a 3-month, 5-month fix. Unless you're an actor and you're getting ready for a role. Or there's a holiday in Mombasa and you want to look good, for example. Or in my case, we renewed our health insurance. So 5'8" at 90. At that point, I was 93 kgs. So if you look at the BMI, I'm obese. So they told me you're at risk. So we need to add 25%
to your premium. And you're like, no. The Kuyo in you was like, no, that math is not math.
I'm like, what did you mean? They're like, yes, sorry, according to our scale, you're more susceptible to health overweight related disease. I'm like,
do you know my life?
You're looking at me. Do I look like
Yeah.
And she's like, yes, I understand, but this is policies from, and I'm like, I'm happy to get on a call with whoever sets your policies, because I don't understand why you're charging me this X amount of extra dollars because you say, because a certain number that.
And they're not looking at any other parameters. I feel like this is another whole podcast. So it's just your weight and your height.
Exactly.
Not looking at your lifestyle.
A scale that has been determined on your typical white male. We're different.
Yeah.
We're different. We also carry weight different.
Yeah.
There should be a whole new BMI also. It doesn't take into the fact muscle.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense. So unfortunately, I couldn't convince them. So I had to pay that extra 25. But now it's marked on my calendar every December. I have to go on a shred so that I'm 85 when I step up. Can you imagine?
That's
so, it's so irritating.
I have so many ways to go with that, but I'm just going to refrain myself because I'm like,
podcast.
Yeah, because that would just anger me. And I feel like maybe when we're mixing this up, it'll go back. But you had mentioned the skin, and I had wanted to end there, but now I've remembered the comment on this loose skin.
Yeah.
Part of what?
So I lost what is 160.
You were 160 kg.
Yeah, I was 75. So I lost 85 kgs in about 6 months, which is
about 15 or so per month.
By 6. Yeah, 14
14
per month. And a lot of it was
fast.
Yeah, and I was losing majority of my muscle first.
Yeah.
Not fat.
Yeah.
Fat was just a byproduct. So when I told you about, I landed back at 75 at the airport, and my mom looked at me like, "Oh no, my kid has gone to get AIDS." Get AIDS in.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the one thing is drastic weight loss.
Yeah.
In abroad. And I remember her being so worried, concerned. And the same with my aunts. Because my aunts would be like, the same aunts would tell me, "You're too big." And then now they're like,
"Hi.
Is there something you wanted to tell us?"
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So byproduct of that is skin does have a level of elasticity.
Very true.
Yes. And you need to marry that with the rate at which you lose weight as well. Because there's a limit to that elasticity, and had surpassed that the way that I had lost weight. So I had a lot of excess skin, which whole new myriad of issues completely. Because now all of a sudden, with clothes, you look good.
Yeah, but
without clothes.
Yeah. Because everybody's like, you lose weight like the whole physique thing is you want to look good naked, not just in clothes.
Then all of a sudden you don't. So battled with that for some time. I got surgery to remove the skin.
Okay.
I got it here.
Okay.
2 surgeries actually.
Yeah. So what was that like in that period? The number you were chasing, you've achieved. No wonder you said the physique was not there.
So now, once the skin is off, once you've recovered from surgery, I've shown you I've got a C-section scar.
I've never seen the scar.
I have.
Okay.
I'm showing you. I have not? Okay. We'll wait for the camera to go. So, where was I?
You're talking about the myriad of issues with the skin.
Yeah, so you recover.
Before the surgery, what was that like mentally with the excess skin? You've done all this hard work.
Aki, what else do I need to do? That is it. Like, how am I meant to combat this? It gets out of your control. And skin has its own issues. You still have heat. Because now there's a flop now over here. So there's always sweat. You have to do extra cleaning. So got it surgically removed. Thank yet again my parents for being so supportive and walking with me through this. Got it surgically removed. It's not first surgery was, let's say, 50%.
So was it the afro? I've watched enough of the 600-pound life stories. So usually, because they're big, and I've seen the pictures of you, the abdomen usually ends up hanging. So the first surgery they do is the afro.
They pull your skin down.
Yeah.
Cut. Yeah. And then connect this part there. Then make a new belly button.
They do that. Yeah.
Yes, I have a new belly button.
Yeah.
And then had a lot of skin here on my chest as well.
Yeah.
So fix that. The work that was done, the first surgery was great. Didn't really touch on my love handle, so to say. So that I get 50% of the work. So now the second surgery, can't remember, maybe around a year later, did...
How long did it take you to recover? For the first one?
Have you had a C-section?
No.
Okay. Yeah. However long that takes.
So 6 weeks only?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
6, I guess. I don't remember.
And was this your lazy fit stage? So how was it being out of the gym?
Mentally, you're at home doing nothing.
What was that like?
The Xbox helped me. Yeah. Started working then. I don't know. I can't remember. I had to have been, or did I get it during holiday from the UK? I don't know. But I can't recall getting leave for 6 weeks. Anyway, second surgery did around another 20% of the work. Had wanted to do a third surgery. Also, it's like tattoos now. And so you now start to panel beat every single...
Trying to design.
Yes, trying to design. And nothing against my... surgeon, but our industry is not
as developed
as the West in terms of
stitches,
aesthetics. The quality of the surgery is fantastic, but in terms of what a male physique looks like, there are people who specialize in that.
Yeah,
here it's a plastic surgeon or a cosmetic surgeon who works mainly on people who've been in car accidents, deformity. So they're fixing that. Now you're telling him, no, I just want to look like the normal shape of a man. And I mean, he's your traditional middle or upper middle-aged man.
Kitambi,
everything.
Who's a doctor?
And I realized he won't understand, and I don't blame him for that. So my next move was to now do surgery abroad, saving up for that. Then God starts telling me, you're not going to find happiness at the end of a scalpel. You're going to chase it forever. Get comfortable with yourself. So that comes to another thing I have to tell people. Be comfortable with who you are now. Because whatever change happens, you still won't be comfortable with that person. If you're not content now, you won't be content then. And so...
How did you find contentment in the middle of all that?
Still finding contentment. I think contentment is always a journey because there's still situations that will rock your view or your foundation and things. I guess just constantly reminding myself that my body does not determine my happiness. Right now, God, my wife, my family, my friends, those are the happiness. So what if I look like Ryan Reynolds, but I'm on my own? So a lot of that. And there are a lot of people with great physiques who
are assholes. Can I say that?
Well, exactly. So, and I think that's an aspect of growing up, I think. Marriage came at such a great, it's not even marriage, just my wife came at such a great time.
Yeah.
Perfect time.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To give you that sense of grounding.
To show me what happiness outside of the gym for me looks like, or what's important to me. Yeah, to reset my priorities. Yeah.
I'm so tempted to ask you more about that because I feel like that's a whole because like how did she manage to do that? What did she?
Loved me for who I always tell her that her and my mother are so similar because it just doesn't matter how I look. They love me.
They saw you for you.
They saw me for me.
The thing from childhood.
Exactly. Although I'll call my wife out. I showed her, I did show her my picture. And I'm like, would you have dated me then? She'd have been, I would have needed more time. But they just see me, love me, support me for who I am, for my flaws, my strengths. Obviously, I'm very intentional about my food. So I can see a bit of sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice in the menus at home, because my wife loves pasta. She absolutely loves pasta. It's not, I don't like pasta.
The macros.
Yeah.
I know.
We don't have a lot of pasta. We have a lot of rice.
Oh.
Grilled meat. Rice. So we do a lot of that. And I mean, I tell her obviously if she wants to make, if she wants the household to make whatever she wants, it's okay. But she's
supportive.
She's just supportive. So yeah. And my mom's also has also been so supportive. She was the one who took me through all the different surgeries, buying rabbit food, buying GNLD, getting me Zenicol. I think that was leaking fat. My mom, she actually took, I remember going to Sarit Center. Do you remember the ads in the newspapers for SWS? It was like acupuncture. They'd stick needles and help. I don't know if it was Chinese or Western, not Western, Eastern techniques to help use. And we went for that. And
you did an acupuncture for weight loss?
No, I didn't. Because we went for that first meeting, and there's something that guy said that my mom was like,
no.
I'm not taking you there.
It's never that serious.
We'll find someone else.
Yeah.
I'm not taking you there. Yeah. So my mom has been extremely supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thagana, this has been amazing. Honestly, I feel like you've given so much more than I expected out of this. I
hope so. I wasn't sure what you're looking for.
Because I know we've had like bits and discussions in the gym and whatever and on the phone. And a part of me was concerned that, because remember I kept pushing like, okay, I want to double click. But you've been so giving in this conversation.
Thank you for making me feel comfortable.
No.
I think I've said a couple of things in my head. I'm like, we haven't said this before.
Wow.
Yeah. So thank you.
No,
thank you for just making the space comfortable. And next time I also want to hear about...
No, I feel like... So two things. One, you interview me. And then I'd love to have your wife here, because as you were talking, I was like, wouldn't it be interesting to hear the support mechanism of whoever, whether it's wife, child, somebody to tell their story? Because the other day I heard our baby saying, don't yell at me because I actually read the label, the ingredients. And I was like, what have we done?
What happened?
So...
How does that influence... Sorry, I know this pod is over. We can stop rolling. But
okay.
How has it influenced then your children?
Everything.
What have they taken from your lifestyle, your intentionality with food, macros,
so
fitness?
It's a long story, but the short version of it is sometimes it's tough because I remember when we started, I was like, wow, what world are we bringing the kids into? Because in the States, I'm so accustomed to snacks that are this and this and that. And I was like, it's happening in Kenya. Domino's is coming and whatever. What world are these kids growing up in? And I was like, I want to have options on the shelves that are good for children, period. So sometimes it's a struggle because part of the reason that parents in general make bad decisions is because of convenience, right? Am I going to order pizza or am I going to cut up vegetables? So we try and involve them in a lot of the food prep, talking through stuff. So it's not easy.
Do you see them actually making well-informed decisions?
Not all the time. Not all the time. I mean, they're also little 6 and 2, but then okay. It's a whole.
And how do their friends influence? I mean, because
forget about this. Don't get me started on this again.
In fact, you can turn it off. Then you can start on this.
Don't get me it's a whole. It's a whole nother story because it's a very interesting dynamic. But the biggest challenge, and it's not even just with food, it's what you want to control, like television and screen time and what the kids are. I will leave it at that. But yes, this is the raison d'être, the reason for existence for me is I don't want people to have to make the same excuses that I hear other people making, or I feel like maybe my mom had to make raising because, single parent home, that has its own challenges. What's the easy thing to do?
Is there an easy thing to do?
Yeah.
Everything is.
Yeah. And for me, I'm like, if we can make convenience out of fast food, we can make convenience out of healthy food. It's the same process. I was just telling CK, the amount of time it takes me to make you fries, I take less time to make you a fantastic smoothie or a fantastic J-bowl or something really amazing in less time that is so good for you. And imagine you still enjoy it.
Very, very true.
So it's a whole mind shift. I have the same beef with why people ask for straws. I don't know if I can talk about this, but I'm like, it's a conditioning. You were brought up thinking you need a straw, when technically straws were actually invented for paraplegics. And then now it was commercialized as this thing that is needed. It's just one of those things as humans we've just learned to make convenience that's actually not convenient for us and it's not convenient for the environment. So, yeah, but it's...
Yeah. Also, you've just reminded me of another piece of advice. It's that statement. Just remind me, I haven't said it in a while. Plan to prepare, fail.
Yeah, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, if you have snacks in the house, you're going to eat them.
Oh yeah.
You go get water in the middle of that's us doing COVID. Just create a conducive environment for you to succeed. If you know your weakness is
for me peanuts.
Alcohol, peanuts,
or peanut butter jar.
Are you serious?
Oh my God. A whole jar in one sitting.
I think my weakness is, let's say if I've got friends over and have bought, let's say, drinks for them, and then they don't finish, then I try to give it to them as taker and they don't take it and you leave it in the house. It'll just be, I'll have one. I'll continue. It'll just become now a daily routine. There's that, or I love yogurt. I love yogurt. And
I know this. Did you call her, by the way?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I can sit and consume.
I can't wait for you to try our vegan yogurt, by the way, but sorry.
What are the macros like?
I'll tell you, but it'll be good. Don't worry. High on the fat though, because it's oat and cashew and coconut.
Okay. It has just reshape. There's no bad food. Yeah. So can't wait.
I can't wait for you to try it. Sorry. So you were saying?
What was I saying?
About loving yogurt.
Yeah, so I love yogurt. And as long as there's yogurt in the house, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
I can't control myself.
Yeah. So create an environment that...
Yeah, just create that environment.
Yeah.
If there is a brand of crisps that my wife and I absolutely love and...
Pringles?
No, it's Kettle something.
I know which one. Kettle One?
Kettle One is vodka, but...
Oh. No, there's a brand. Sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
Same thing. I'm sure there are potatoes somewhere inside there. Kettle something.
Okay.
Really good. It's just you can't eat.
One.
You can't eat 5. So we no longer buy that. It's only there when guests are coming. And yeah, sugary drinks. I'm not big on sugar, so rarely happens. I try and get them from fruits. So we just create an environment for us to try and create an environment for us to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Can't wait to have you again.
Can't wait to be here again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And
hopefully it won't be as cold this time.
Who knows? Just learned to make peace with Nairobi weather at this point. But I honestly feel that the story is going to touch quite a number of people, and I'm excited for it. And
I hope so.
No, it will. Confessing, power of the tongue. It will.
Amen.
Yeah.
We receive.
Yes.
Thank you.
So have a good one, and can I give you a hug?
Yes.
Thank you, Thagana. I am so glad you joined us for today's conversation. You know, every time I have the privilege of listening to one of our guests share their story, there's always a lesson or message that just touches me. And I hope this is true for you too. And if you can find a friend, or maybe two who you can share this episode with, please do. It'll help us grow our conscious living community. We would also love to stay connected with you and hear from you. Reach out to us on socials on our handle, Somalabl, SOMALABL. Once again, thank you, and we can't wait to see you again on our next Somalabl episode. Goodbye.